Yeah, do you have one?
Yeah, we have it.
Dude, go ahead.
I think that
Pull
should
that
be a
thing.
part of.
Oh, loaded. Yeah, wow.
Put another one in the round.
We got to travel with this guy.
Good to go.
Now we're safe.
We're clear. We're cleared hot.
Cleared off.
Safe.
All right. Welcome to the third episode of the Kill Your Ego podcast. Tonight, or today, today, I don't even know what my day it is. I've got three of kind of the biggest sissies and wussies you've ever met in your entire life. On the far end over here, Cole Reiner, Mason Clements, and Leighton Berry. And these three guys are professional bronc riders. And we're going to talk today about, killing your ego. And we've been talking for the last few minutes. It's an absolute honor to have these guys on. I had the honor of a couple months back going down to Texas and these three guys putting me through my paces for a day to get on a bronc. And I'd say, Mason, what if you had to scale a bronc from 1 being just a lame animal laying on the ground to 10 being the bronchiest, wildest, buckinest son of a bitch that ever hit the face of the earth, a fireball, what was the animal that I rode?
I'd put it at a 4.
So a 4. And let me tell you something. When I rode this bronc down at the Steiner Ranch in Texas, I was nervous as shit. They put me on a mechanical bronc, and I thought I was doing pretty good. And then everything changed when they brought the horses out of the trailer, put them in a chute, ran them into the arena down there, and then put them in the chute. And my entire life of halo jumping and all the cool guy stuff, and by the way, that I was mediocre at on my best day, but jumping out of airplanes, going into combat, doing all the stuff that that's ramped up my anxiety and scared me at times in my life, and I'm not afraid to say that certain things scared me. I've never had more adrenaline going through my entire veins and my body and my brain than when Mason looked at me and said, get on top of this 1,250-pound animal that was inside a chute. And keep in mind that these guys are world-class athletes on the PRCA. They're NFR caliber. These guys will be world champions at some point. And there was 15 of them standing around, to include the Steiner family, to include Buster Frierson, who you guys all that listen and know Bison Union know Buster.
Hey, we were just standing around for the wreck.
Yeah, they were, and I could see it. They were all like, who's this clown? And by the way, I'm wearing a shirt that says Bronco Burt. Like, talk about killing your ego. I literally made a fake shirt that said Bronco Burt, and these guys are all looking at me like, who is this turd that just showed up to try and get 5 minutes of glory?
Hey, I feel like you're putting yourself pretty light.
No,
saying all that, like
it was
all the halo jump and stuff. I feel like you were badass doing that.
I was not. I was literally average on my best day. So
I don't feel like you were, because when you came to the ranch and we started getting on the spur board and the bucking machine, from the time you hit that and like ran your hand in my rigging or sat down in the saddle on the bucking machine, you were in the zone game time. We went to lunch.
That's called fear. Like that's called fear.
I think your concentration, like fear dives into concentration.
I think you're correct, and
because
that was
you
it for
have
me.
to have fear to be successful, I believe.
Yeah, and
you got to take that leap, right?
You do, and I've got big enough balls to admit that I was nervous as shit. And my lead up to you guys that day was, you guys got a crazy, crazy lifestyle. When I got to the ranch, all these guys drive, big diesel trucks that have campers on the back, and they literally live and die by these campers with their wives, fiancés, girlfriends, friends, and family. They travel all over the country. Well, I pull up, and it was almost like, the only thing I can equate it to is like, oh man, I don't even know. These guys just started coming out of these ranch bunks, and none of them are wearing shirts, and I'm not trying to be creepy here, but you've got this opinion in your head about cowboys and rodeo guys and bronc riders, but every one of these guys came out. They're wearing flip-flops. They work nonstop. They work out twice a day doing either cardio or lifting weights. But every one of them came out, and I'm looking around going, holy shit. All these guys look like the United States Olympic wrestling team. They're all 5'7" to 5'10". You guys are all in perfect shape. And they all start coming out, and I'm just sitting there, and that's when things, for me, it's like, I don't like jumping out of an airplane. I've done it a lot. No, I hate it.
I want to so bad.
I hate it until you do it, and then you love it so much that you're like, I got to do that again. And then as soon as I get back into
Your suit.
rigged up, I'm like,
I hate this.
damn it, why did I do this
Hey,
again?
you got to tell that to Leighton. He's the one that he won't jump.
Leighton,
I'm
he
out.
has to go skydiving with us.
Next summer, you guys need to come up here, and we're going to find somebody here. We'll find somebody that'll come up here. I got buddies that'll come up here. We'll get a plane at Sheridan Airport. We'll get a Casa 212, and we will all go jump with. We'll do a day of train up, and we'll go jump.
We're in.
But
Leighton's
meeting you
in.
guys,
I'm gonna drink beer on the ground. if you
that's
don't
fine.
mind.
Please do.
I'll watch.
It's more fun to watch you throw up when you go out the plane.
Yep. You're going. I don't know if you know this, but
whatever we
we're
keep
all
saying,
putting you
but-
in a suit, whether you like it or not, and on that plane.
Drug.
Let's do it.
Alcohol induced.
Yeah,
Still going.
But these guys, there was 15 of you guys there, and between the 15 of you guys that were there, Casey, all of you guys that were there, how many world champions were probably there? I think probably there was several repeat world champions, but my point is, it's not an easy feat in my mind. I was nervous as shit. I'm looking at some of the best bronc riders in the history of bronc riding. And then you guys, the beauty of it is, and here's where I'm going with running my mouth and talking a lot. I'm sitting there, I've got my background, which, doesn't matter much when you're getting on a bucking horse. It just doesn't. I mean, you brought it up, but to me, it doesn't. And every single one of you guys was the most humble guys that I've met in 10 years. No joke. Every one of you guys came up, introduced yourself. You were quiet. You were stoic. But as soon as I started asking questions, every one of you guys stopped what you were doing to make sure. And it wasn't to make sure that I knew you guys were awesome. You guys were giving me pointers to make sure I didn't fucking hurt myself.
Well, I think you understood why we're like that as soon as you got off that horse. That horse will humble you.
Oh, man.
You can be the champ or the chump. From one day, the champ, like that. The next day, you're the chump.
Well,
And if you don't stay humble and know what that horse can do and what other competitors have and can make you look silly.
well, and I
you
thought it
have
was
to
going to make
stay
me look
humble.
silly. And you guys,
No,
again,
you
it was
did
good instruction.
phenomenal.
But the other part of that is somehow in that mix of 7 seconds, I didn't even make it to your guys' standard on a 4, but I hurt myself worse than I've hurt myself in 10 years. I just now recovered from that. I 100% pulled my groin, and I got off that horse, and you can see it in the video. I don't know if I've ever posted the video, but you can see it. I wanted to throw up super bad, and I just kept telling myself, and Buster's seen this because I got kicked in the nuts by a calf because I was trying to learn how to hold the calf's tail as it gets up and stand up with it, and a yearling popped me right, both back hoofs right in the nuts.
Double booted you.
But I literally was sitting in that arena, and I looked up, and literally some of the most famous and best bronc riders, to include you guys sitting here, I looked up, and there's 15 fucking guys standing on a gate just staring at me, smiling. And in my head, we'll have to play the video with this. In my head, I'm going, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up. And I walk out of that arena. I think you saw me. And I was in the spirit world.
Yeah.
I was in the spirit
Glazed
world.
over.
My eyes were focused in. My crotch felt like it was on fire, and somebody kicked me right in the ding dong. But anyway, my point is, when you talk about killing your ego, you guys have every reason in the world to be stoic and have an ego, and you guys didn't. Like, it was the most incredible thing I've seen in a long, long time, to have that many guys there just rooting for me, wanting me to do good. And I watched the video over and over again. I couldn't hear it while I was riding that thing, that fiery steed, that beast.
Everything just blocks out.
No, but I watched the video, and I can hear all you guys yelling for me in the background. And it's like, who does that? Some career fields, if a Yahoo rube fucking ding dong like me came out to ride a horse or, do whatever sport it is, there'd be guys going, who's this clown? And you guys didn't do that. So we're going to start with you, Mason. Now that I ran my mouth for a few minutes, how did you end up where you are right now, bronc riding? And I want to hear the bad stuff as well as the good stuff as much as you want to talk about it, because I know you just didn't wake up. I know your family background. I know you just didn't wake up and say, I'm going to go be one of the best bronc riders in the world tomorrow. Maybe you did, but that's not how you got here.
No, it's not. I think so I grew up in town, city kid, playing football, baseball, raced motocross till I was 18. And somewhere in between, I had some really good family friends that had horses, and man, I just couldn't stay off of them. Every time we go over there and hang out, I was, they wanted to play basketball or go ride my motorcycles. I'm like, no, man, I want to ride your horses.
That's awesome.
Let's do that. And
this is in Utah, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then I think about 17 when I started, 16, 17 when I started really riding bulls and steer wrestling in high school.
How did that start, though? When's the first time that somebody said, hey, we're going to put you on a steer?
Man.
Or we're going to put you on a bull?
So I had to borrow horses in high school or junior high and high school because I just had that itch. I honestly just had the itch. Like, I wanted to compete in rodeo. And I had to borrow horses to compete in the breakaway, the team roping, whatever. And my buddies that were doing that in junior high, they were riding steers and everything, and I wanted to do that bad. Mom's like, no, just keep trying to rope and just do this. And then it was like January, and I was about 3 hours away from home at a buddy's cabin, and another friend called that I was rodeoing with, said, hey, there's a rodeo tomorrow, and they have spots in the bull riding. Do you want to go? I was like, I'll call you right back. I think I was like 14, 15, and I called my mom. I was like, I really want to go to this. Can I come home tonight and go to that rodeo? He said he's going to let me use his gear. So we take off back to the house, and Mom signs the papers. I get on, and I didn't ride any steers.
Your mom literally had to sign a note for you to go.
At the rodeo. Had to be
awesome.
Present and sign off on the liability. And I never rode steers or calves or anything. I got on a bunch of sheep, at the rodeo, the town rodeos when I was younger, but didn't do anything steer, sheep. That was it. And they were actual, like, bulls at that age. You were starting to get on big, full-size bulls. Nothing super ranked, probably at a 4 or 5
right
level. And I ended up riding it, and I think I was first or second placed, and it was the first one, and that was like,
how'd that feel?
You rode your first bull?
oh yeah,
What? Really?
man,
He's a natural.
rolling spurs. Not really. That was like beginner's luck. And Mom was like, wow, that was really cool, and you're still intact and you're healthy. Let's do it. So that Christmas I asked for bull riding gear.
What does that cost for those people that don't know?
Rope, vest, glove, boots, chaps, spurs. You're probably looking at that age, that level, you're probably $1,100.
And that's like the cheapest. Like, bull riding is the cheapest event in rodeo.
Yep.
For sure. It's easy
So
to get it.
$1,100, but you can probably turn that into where you guys are at now. You guys all have stuff that you like. It's custom.
Yep,
this is way
everything's
different,
customed. How you like it, who you want it from. It's like cars, 4-wheelers.
Yep.
Everybody's making great stuff now, especially the custom stuff, as far as spurs and leather and chaps and everything goes.
So $1,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, I mean, at this level, you're $2,000 out of pocket.
Gotcha. Okay.
Your spurs are going to run anywhere from $300 to $500, and then rigging from Barstow, which is who we all ride our riggins from. That's what, $700 now?
Yeah, with your discount, it's $850.
Yeah.
And Barstow is a company out of
Texas.
Okay.
Yep.
But
It's to get a rigging set up. It's probably a little over $1,000.
Yep. Everything
What do you
into
think,
it. The
Leighton?
Latigos, pad.
1,100.
So just to explain this to folks that
Cinch.
don't know, when you go out there to ride, you guys all are going to ride broncs this weekend in Rapid City, but you show up with your own rigging, all your own equipment, and you outfit. So there's not, when you go to these bronc riding, there's not an official that comes out and says you have to use this equipment, you have to use this. You show up with your own stuff as long as it meets the standard of the competition guidelines.
Yeah, and
you're
like,
using your own stuff that you're used to and you've got an attachment to.
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking that is my background. Guys get real attached to their kit and their gear, just like anything. Your body armor, your pouches, the way your holster, everything that you want to use. Guys get super, super, super superstitious about, but also get super attached to it.
I think it's the same way for us. I mean, Leighton files and works on his rigging different than I do, different than Cole does.
I don't touch mine.
I mean,
Just buy
you
it,
set
you
it
just
up
buy it
and
run it.
Well, you got to set them up right away, but like once mine's set up, I try not to like touch it at all. But like Leighton's feels like to him like it feels better the way he keeps moving it around and setting it up. So it's all preference.
just
a
like
little
your
bit of
gear,
a
your guns,
perfectionist.
everything.
Yeah.
So that was it. Dumped $1,100 or so into equipment, and you were off to the rodeo.
I was off to the rodeo, and first rodeo school I went to was the Sankey Rodeo School.
We just talked about them yesterday with Brian King was on
Yep.
the podcast we talked about.
They used to put those on all across the country, and
Yep.
they were a big deal when I first started. That was maybe 2005, 6. And then started to progress a little more, and then my best friend at the time, we started traveling together, going to high school rodeos, and he told me about another guru, the bull riding guru, Gary LeFew, and we would go to every one of his clinics that we could.
How much did that cost?
That I can't remember. I think that was like a $500
For a weekend or something?
for 3-day school.
And you're riding
Yep.
the whole time.
You ride the whole time. You get on the drop barrel. You watch video. You eat, breathe, sleep, bull riding.
Did you go?
At
Did you
those
go to
deals.
California for that?
Yeah, and so then, like, when I graduated and we got our pro cards and we were rodeoing through California, he lives just outside of Sacramento, up in the mountains there, and we'd just stop in, and he'd be having clinics at his house, and he'd just, you guys are welcome to stay here and attend the clinic while I'm teaching it. Just fix fence, feed bulls.
Love it.
Yeah, work and
Work for food.
earn your stay.
And rodeo.
Yeah.
Love
So we did that. Every time we were in California, we were like, hey, man, we got to stop by Gary's. So we just did everything Gary told us to do. And I wasn't really progressing at it. And it was getting tough. Like, I was going back to work on the highways doing construction and concrete. And
Your family owns a construction company in Utah. Correct?
Yep, correct. They do now, and we've owned a ready mix company called American Eagle Ready Mix in Salt Lake, and that's been going for the last 5 years.
Yeah, and I saw, because I watch everything you do, and we obviously talk, but as soon as the COVID stuff started, that kind of hit you guys pretty hard there for a few months until you started doing like the rig and rally in Texas and stuff. But you went back to doing
to the plant,
construction
yep.
to pay
Yep.
bills, which kind of segs. I'd like to meet the other guys and then get back to, because you keep mentioning it like you're a rock band or like you're a business guy that's traveling. You keep kind of nonchalantly saying we were in California, we were here. Where I'm going with that is I really want to talk about how many miles you guys put on your bodies and your trucks to go out and possibly win $1,000.
So, like I said, we did everything Gary told us to do.
Right.
So we would come back home after rodeoing for 3 days on a weekend. We still had jobs.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, 17, 18 years old. And we'd work our asses off, you know, Tuesday to Thursday or whenever we had to leave. We were really fortunate having good paying jobs, but also lenient with letting us go and rodeo. And in those days that we were home after work, we'd meet each other. We'd go to the gym. We started doing gymnastics. We started wrestling. We started boxing, riding.
Just to stay fit.
Just to stay fit.
Fit.
To stay in bull riding shape.
Yeah, and the beauty,
Do everything that there was.
the beauty of doing this on video and YouTube is you can see the shape these guys are in. It literally, I haven't seen guys in this kind of shape in a long time. Like, I just haven't. As a whole, as a group, you'll see people that are in good shape, but you guys, man, keep talking that piece, because I think that's what's hard to understand. Buster Frierson, I'm going to mention Buster's name a lot. He's now become a friend of yours. You guys do stuff with Jay and Chaff Hay, but Buster's another guy that I see work. He does rodeos every weekend. He runs cows every day of his life, but he still finds the time to go to the gym for an hour or 90 minutes or 2 hours a night. You guys are the same way, and I think people out there who have a perception of ranchers, farmers, rodeo guys, cowboys, whatever you guys do, have this perception of, you know, a tall, lanky guy or a heavy set guy, but it's a whole nother ball game how fit you guys are and how fit ranch rodeo guys are now. Ranch rodeo guys might have a little bit of a beer belly or something, but they're still ridiculously fit.
I mean, it's definitely evolved from going from drinking, partying, being at the bar, living a complete rock star lifestyle, rodeoing to, okay, we're actually
But you guys still do
professional
that.
athletes.
You guys still do that,
We
right?
still go out and have fun and go to the bar and stay out late, you know. There are times that
I think the last time you guys were here, somebody
Guilty.
showed up.
Yeah.
That was me.
That's
Cole.
Cole.
he just came into town after being on the road for what, 5-6 months,
Yeah.
and you were back in town for the first time in 5-6 months.
Good
and-
introduction here,
Had a
Cole.
party.
Cole Reiner. So Cole is actually from Buffalo, which those of you listening, Buffalo sits the next. Well, there's a couple towns in between, like where I live in the mountains, but Buffalo is the next kind of big town of 5,000 people. I say big, 5,000 people.
Big in Wyoming.
Big in Wyoming. That's the next town, and it's actually called Buffalo, Wyoming. It's one of, you can't pick a better name. But Cole, you go ahead and just kind of dive into real quick your background,
so-
because yours is similar. You were a high school athlete.
Yeah.
I hear people talk about your participation in high school sports here before they talk about you're a bit of a local legend as far as sports go. Talk about your background a little
Yeah,
bit.
so like 20 minutes from here, that's like as far away as my family is from here at the ranch, and we just came from there this morning. But
And
grew up-
you're working a ranch when you're not riding broncs. You're back here.
No,
You're not.
stay away.
Gotcha. But your family does
Yeah.
operate a ranch here.
Yeah, they do. But I'm down in Texas most of the time now with Leighton. We live down at the Steiners, working on bareback riding instead of ranching.
I keep interrupting you guys here just because this is a new segment for a lot of our customers aren't rodeo folks. When they say the Steiners are arguably one of the probably the
Most decorative
right now, for
family
sure.
and rodeo and bronc riding. And for those of you guys that watched Yellowstone season 3, Rocker Steiner's the young kid that's in one of the episodes riding, and his dad is in the episode as well. But you saw him in the bronc riding portion. There's a young kid in there, and this kid is. That could be a whole nother episode talking about how nuts that kid is and how talented he is. But when they say the Steiners, that's who they're talking about.
Yeah, so I've been down there a bunch, but like growing up here in high school, I roped a lot, roped calves, team roped a lot, but like never really was super into it because we were wrestling all the time, like year round until my senior year. So that's what I grew up doing, is wrestling. And we were going Montana, Utah, Colorado, out to Virginia a few times, the West Coast, East Coast, a lot of stuff like that. And then I ended up, so I'm a 4-time state finalist. And a lot of people don't know that. Mason's fiance didn't even know that until yesterday, and she didn't believe me.
I honestly didn't know it until one of the girls that works in the coffee shop who went to high school kind of close to you said it. You had left here that day, and she said, yeah, he was a really good wrestler. But again, you're talking about accolades that you've gone to state in wrestling, but also killing your ego at the same time and being humble. I spent a day with you guys. We talked about where you were from. We talked about Wyoming. Then you came here for another day in town, and you never mentioned it. Somebody else had to tell me that you were a 4-time state, wrestling guy here in Wyoming, which is not nothing. Like, wrestling's pretty competitive here.
For sure. There's a lot of good wrestling here, but like, so I went my freshman and sophomore year and lost both state championship matches. So talk about, that sucked. That did suck. It was the end of the world for me for 2 years, and then came back my junior year.
But what did losing do? I mean, the premise of the show, I like to focus more on failure leading to success.
Led to 2 state titles.
Yeah,
So
it pissed
did you-
me off is
you-
what it did.
It pissed you off,
Yeah.
but in the right way.
In a good way, yeah. Like, that's the thing. All of us, we all get mad about losing, but we don't lose our minds over it by any. Like, we're all, especially if we do. There's 3 of us here that can tell
Smack
each other.
us around.
Yeah, smack you around. Be like, hey,
Quit being a bitch.
get your your shit together, kind of deal. But I think that's just an attitude we've all had growing up, and came back pretty much. I had a really good year my junior year. Went out to Virginia, All-American out there.
So I take it you won state your junior and senior year based on what Leighton just said.
And then won those two years, and I was gonna go wrestle for sure, was set on it.
That was my next question. Why didn't you go to college and wrestle?
The coach here in Sheridan, I'll get to this too. My buddies grew up rodeo families, and they actually, his uncle, one of my buddy's uncles, had bucking horses at the college here. And I was just kind of getting into rodeo at the time, or into bareback riding at the time, and came up here a few times, and I think it probably been on 15 or 20 head, and Mark offered me a full ride, and I was like, hell yeah. Like,
Mark's the college coach.
Mark Gilgerson's the college coach up here, and I couldn't really turn it down. It was close to home.
To ride
for Sheridan.
College.
For Sheridan College, and it was close to home. I could go home, kind of feel out the whole college deal, and then not have to go home all the time. Like, I could still be in Sheridan and feel like I was 1,000 miles away, and like I said, it was just too hard to turn down. All my high school friends and stuff, we were all going there together, so it ended up being that deal. But to get into that, the bareback riding side of things, so my buddy Dylan Sandvik, his dad is a 12-time NFR qualifier, Larry, in the bareback riding, and then Ian McGivney. So his family's pretty big in KC. The Forbeses, his uncle made it the NFR a few times, won the average in Oklahoma City back in like the 60s. And then his cousin would have been made the NFR in like 04, 05, somewhere around there. And that's how I got into rodeo. They had the KC Night Rodeo and the Buffalo Night Rodeo.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. They're kind of pretty nice way to get into rodeo around here if you're looking to do that. Really nice horses and all that stuff, and pretty fun. So I was hanging around Dylan, and he was talking a lot of shit, because that's what Dylan does. Call me if whatever. And
I think that's what a lot of you guys do, which is great.
Yeah, Dylan's really good at it. So, and so that's kind of how it all started. And I was gonna ride broncs, but we didn't have a saddle, like right away. And I was kind of in a hurry to do something, and I ended up having a bareback rigging at the house for some reason. And I went up to Larry's that night, like it had been a Friday night, and went there that morning and got some stuff set up on the rigging and climbed on my first one that night, and just decided, like, it was like a 2-day deal. It was like Wednesday afternoon, Dylan was talking shit. Friday, I was getting on a bareback horse. And like, I can go back to your deal. I think all of us, I don't know about Mason and Leighton, but like the first time, I'll never forget getting on a bareback horse for the first time. It is like something that is,
it was different than getting on a bull for the first time.
Anything else.
Honestly, it's
yeah,
fast.
it's so hard to explain. You know, for me, it's so hard to explain because they're, you know, I was nervous around you guys. Again, I was super nervous and had some anxiety because you guys were all there watching. But when the priorities of work is what I'll call them, military, I'm showing my military side, but priorities of work, everybody got real serious. You know, you're putting the rigging on, you're tightening things up, the chute, the rope coming off the chute, everybody's standing around. Everything got real serious real fast. Like the storm is here, the storm is here, there's some wind, there's some rain, and then all of a sudden the tornado hits and everything got real serious, and then everything went super fucking slow for me, excuse the language, but it literally went in slow motion. I could feel, it's been a while because I'm an old fart and I'm a fat guy that lives in the mountains now, but I could feel, it was the first time in a long time that I felt my heartbeat in my own chest. I could hear it and feel it. Yeah. And it was loud there too. There was 10 people talking. There was my buddies
sliding,
there,
metal
sliding, and I could feel
hooves.
And hear my heartbeat. And then you looked at me, and then Buster looked at me, and you were like, "You ready?" And Buster said, "When you're on, get on there. You're tightening me up. You're doing this." And then you guys said, "Hey, when you nod your head, there's no turning back." And I didn't even want to think about it. It was just like jumping out of a plane. I probably should have took a second to get a little bit tighter and look, but I just wanted to go. I was like, man, let's get out of here. But I'm telling you, man, it is, I know not everybody in the United States is going to have a chance to go do that, but if you ever get a chance to try that, whew, I'm telling you, top 3 for me as far as adrenaline. And then you guys asked me right afterwards, do you want to get on another one? Because there was a second horse there. Buster subsequently got on it. But, man, you guys didn't even finish. And I was like, nope, I'm good. I crossed this off the list. Thinking on it now, I called you.
Well, and you had a pulled groin.
I did, and I was hurt. But I called you, and we talked the next week about me coming down to Utah or even up here and doing some stuff, or coming back down to Texas. I really want to do it again now that my brain and my body's had some time to think about it. But, man.
We'll have more opportunities.
Yeah, so we'll help you get stretched out next time.
Yeah, that's what I need to do is yoga. Like when you guys talk about gymnastics and yoga and going to the gym and working out, you guys look like one of those traveling trapeze groups, you know, those gymnastic trapeze guys that are super fit.
Kind of like the circus.
You got
pretty much.
Felt like
it's kind of like the circus.
So your first time getting on one was basically somebody talking shit and saying, "Hey, you can't do this, or you're gonna mess it up."
Yeah.
So Friday night you go walk through that process. Same thing. You get in there, you tighten up. I take it there was guys there or girls there that were helping you, saying, "Hey, do this, do that," so you don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, like I knew Ian and Dylan, like they're my age. They're still rodeoing. I knew them pretty good, but there's all. I mean, his dad, uncles, everyone there helped me out. And I just remember being scared shitless, like, literally, the whole time. Like,
yeah, and you talk about...
As soon as I got took my bag out and set it down, it was, like, glazed over. And
same thing we talked about.
And that feeling doesn't go away. Like, it's not as... I don't know how to... Like, you don't get that feeling until you maybe tie your glove on or something now. But it's still, like, ooh, here we go. Like, and you know it's coming now. It's different. But it's such a, like, warm up, get ready, and then, like, completely calm yourself down. Yeah, and then explode. Like,
and correct me if I'm wrong, because I felt it. You guys wanted me to succeed, but it feels like that's the case. Even if there's issues between people and girls and whoever else, you got personal issues. It seems like when you go to rodeos, specifically like high-intensity rodeos like that, people put that shit aside and everybody wants you to win. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it that competitive where you're like...
No, the shit talking intensifies. But when you get to a bigger rodeo.
But you still want that guy to go out and you'll root for him.
Hell yeah.
And girl too, because women are, I think that's overlooked. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. That's maybe a better question here for a few minutes down the road. But there's women that are also out there getting way into, always have been. But I think they're trying to compete, on the same level across the board. But men and women in this arena, this rodeo, this community, this bronc riding, it seems like you guys bust each other's balls and lady balls, but you want each other to win.
No, I mean, you can get hurt, like, pretty easy out here, like, so you want everyone to do good. Like,
how much does that play into what you guys do? How often do you... I don't ever remember going on missions in the military worried about the second and third order effects of bad things happening. Do you guys... No. Is that even... going through your head?
I mean, I think at a young age we all had that. Obviously, young rookies to the sport, kind of naive to what could happen. But I mean, we all been through the shit. I think we've all been through the ringer and rodeo. I don't think you're at this level without going through the shit and understanding just how serious and how powerful those animals are.
It's crazy.
And if you don't have, a buddy helping you pull your rigging down or holding on to you, you're in the bull riding and you got a spotter, that bull throws you into the front of the chute. You haven't even nodded your head. You haven't even nodded your head. You're just pulling your bull rope down and that bull bucks in the back and throws your face into the front of the gate. You haven't even attempted to make half a second.
Right.
Gate hasn't even opened. You've got a broken face.
Well, and that happened with Buster on that second horse at the Steiners. He
banged his knee up pretty good.
Banged his knee and put his head in. His head's hard as a rock, so you're probably not going to hurt his head.
Got a little cut, yeah.
But that was before, that chaos, that was enough chaos to make an average person shit their pants alone before you guys even open the chute, and then...
Yeah, and then the horse deal, you got, a guy on his head trying to make sure, keeping him calm, making sure he's not rearing back on you. And then you got a guy out in the arena holding the neck rope, keeping him tied down inside the chute so that he doesn't come over backwards and smash you, break your back, break your neck. It happens.
And it happens. And if you don't, lighter. Though.
Yeah.
Like the more you rodeo.
What do you mean it gets lighter?
The level of seriousness,
the intensity of it all.
Now we're to the point where I'm talking shit to the flank man sometimes, or someone that's heading my horse out, with my hands in the rig, and I'm like, "You sure you can?"
You definitely get comfortable.
Yeah,
it's all good fun, and you're comfortable, but you also know that I can get in there and start running my hand in my rigging, and we're all talking shit, and I'm still about to nod my head.
Right.
But I know at the same time, that horse starts acting a fool in the chute. I know that the gate or the neck rope guy has got him held down. I know that Leighton's right there to pull me off or hold on to me, whatever.
If he's lucky.
If shit goes crazy. Yeah, if he's...
I might just Snapchat it.
Yeah.
What did you say in Logan the other day when I was getting on? Mason was talking shit when I was getting on. I don't remember what he said.
Where was this at?
In Logan, Utah.
You're not
It
gonna
was
get
a-
any points in the
Yeah,
buck and
I was
shoot.
like,
Come on, fat boy, you can't score in here. Nod your head.
This is great, man. That's
I'm
the way
like-
it should be.
I'm like sitting back and I'm like, hey,
Cool. Flips
hey,
him the
yeah.
bird.
I was like, hey Mason, like flipped
He
him
just
off
flips
and
me off.
before I nodded, yeah,
And then he ends up
I won the
kicking all of
rodeo.
our asses.
Did you? You won, Logan?
yeah.
So let's walk through real quick. Actually, I'm going to introduce Leighton now. Where are you from?
Weatherford, Texas.
So Weatherford, Texas, for those of you that don't know, is kind of, I would say Weatherford's one of the unofficial homes of rodeo and ranch in Texas.
Yep, it's,
Teskey's Outfitters is there, which is one of the biggest ranch stores in the country. And Weatherford is just, it's 45 minutes from Dallas, from the Fort Worth side of Dallas, Fort Worth. And it is beautiful rolling hills, but it is every bit from, you'll see 3-year-olds walking around ranched out, dressed like they're ready to go, work cows all day long.
Yeah,
all the way up
rodeos.
to 100-year-olds there.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool town.
Yeah, the rodeo's pretty familiar around there. It's also the cutting horse capital of the world. So as far as just horsemanship and all that good stuff, ranching, bareback riding, anything like that, there's been some NFR bronc riders, bareback riders, bull riders from Weatherford, a lot of team ropers. I can't remember how many there was one year at the NFR toll. I think there was like 18 people from like right there in Weatherford.
From Weatherford.
So yeah, it's a pretty popular rodeo town, and it's a cool place to be from.
And what's your background there? Are you an athlete as well?
Yeah, I was a little bit different than like Cole or Mason. I played all the sports. Like I was always an athlete growing up, and I wanted to participate and I wanted to compete. Like I always had a competitiveness about me, but I was like horseback ever since I could walk. Like
Came
since I
from a
was
ranch family?
Yep, like we always had cows and stuff, and my dad rode bareback horses, so like I had a rodeo background, and from the time I was a kid, I was hanging around like NFR qualifier bareback riders and cowboys and that sort of thing. So the nature was always there, always.
Which is crazy to me, because you go to any kind of rodeo, whether it's cutting horse competition or ranch rodeo, bronc, whatever you guys, whatever rodeo is, and you mentioned like growing up around it. One of the things that I always say to people that talk about how crazy America is right now and the world's gone to shit, go to a rodeo. Like if you're out there and you haven't, it doesn't matter if you are a hipster, it doesn't matter what color, religion, whatever you are, people aren't going to judge you if you go to a rodeo. Go to a rodeo and just sit and watch kids running around with each other, riding horses, playing around, having fun, roping stuff. Their parents are in the stands. Everybody takes care of everybody. Again, it doesn't matter who you are. You don't have to wear a cowboy hat and cowboy boots to go to a rodeo. Go to a local rodeo, and I don't care if you live in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, California. There is a rodeo 30 minutes from everybody at least once a year, even if you're in Manhattan. Go to a rodeo.
And it's not like, it's a lot different than a basketball game or a baseball game. When they rattle off the end of the national anthem and fireworks go off and announcers up there, bringing in sponsors, and you can feel the electricity.
Oh, you can feel it. I'm getting the chills.
You can see all the bucking horses loaded.
Right now. Like I just am.
American flags are blowing. People are ready to see what's happening. It's sunsetting. Like there's not a feeling like it in the world. And like to get to do that as a job, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's really not. And then when I sit back and look at it now, I look at it from a 10,000 foot view. When you look at the part we were talking about, you got a guy from Buffalo, Wyoming, a guy from central Utah, and a guy from north central Texas. How many miles a year do you guys put on your vehicles? You guys all drive trucks, and you have campers on the back of your trucks that you live in. I mean, you stayed at my place last night with your fiance Brianna, who's behind the camera, but they drive around in a camper, and they're super nice, but you're probably dealing with 100 square feet inside that thing,
if that.
But how many miles would you say you guys put on your trucks a year? You don't fly. You don't do anything first class. You literally, like you said,
we fly quite a bit.
Do you?
There's
Okay.
quite a few rodeos that we have to fly to that
Just
just cannot make the time meet.
Rodeos back to back
on
on top of each other. You have to fly.
Yeah, from Texas to Oregon.
Well, a lot of
next day.
Like it's like going we'll be in say Colorado, go to a rodeo there, fly to Missouri, get on there, fly back to Colorado, go to a rodeo in Montana, kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of that.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it was one of you guys it was one of you three I was talking to down in Texas that you had a schedule coming up after I met you guys and that train wreck happened, that you were going to ride like 10 animals.
That'd have been the 4th of July, probably.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
And you're riding how many animals in how many days?
So like this year was a little bit different. We only went to about 5 or 6 rodeos and, you know, got on 5 or 6 horses. And on a normal year during the 4th of July,
No COVID, no chaos, nothing shut down.
No, yeah, with it just being like last year,
right?
And hopefully next year we'll start at the Reno Rodeo. That's what they say, like, kicks off the summer run, and so you'll go there, and the short round I believe is usually like on the 28th or 9th of June, and like once you get on in the short round at Reno, you pretty much load up and head out for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, and you'll get on anywhere from 12 to 15 head of bucking horses for some of the biggest money, and you'll put 8,000 miles on your pickup just in that 2 week stretch by the time you leave from Reno and go to everything and get home, like 5,000 to 8,000 miles on your truck just right there.
Just rocking and rolling. So 2 questions out of that. And the reason I'm asking a lot of questions is because a lot of the people listening to this have never been to a rodeo like you guys do, or they have and they don't understand the point system because they've been once. So short round. What's a short round?
So rodeos have different formats, whereas so the Reno Rodeo is a 2-head aggregate. The top 15 on 2 head on points from their 2 previous rides would qualify for the short round, where they'd get on 1 more to total up their 3-head aggregate to place out who wins first through whatever in the average, and that's the big guys that they pay, or how they crown their champion is on 3 total rides. Or a lot of rodeos will have just what's called a long round, where everybody gets in and everyone gets to nod and play, and there might be 70 guys entered, but they're only going to take 12 to the short round. So the 12 highest scores will come back to the short round,
which is usually on Saturday night, like
usually the last bang. So, and then they'll either do it. Some rodeos will do the format where it's just a 1-head shootout, just like the rigging rally we had in Darby. It was a long round, or we had 3 sets of 8 guys, advanced 3 on with 1 wild card, and then the short round was clean slate, so it was like high score wins. But most pro rodeos, most pro rodeos, they'll go ahead and total up your aggregate on 2 horses, including the short round, and then so you might win the short round, you might be 89 points, but someone was 88 and 86 in the previous rounds, they win the average, so they win the rodeo.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's more common like in the winter rodeos. Like San Antonio, you get on three head in your set.
Yeah,
you go to
the tournament format.
Yeah.
In the winter months.
And those are for like your big paying rodeos, like that have literally, you know, almost 100,000 added. So like instead of just having a 1 head, we're gonna pay, you know, crazy amount of money. They use that, you know, to stretch it out the rodeo over the course of 3 weeks, like they do all the big building rodeos like Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston. It's stretched out over a long period of time to, you know, revenue, ticket sales and everything. Gotcha. And make us more money too. But then, so that's where the money gets dispersed, where like you have more chances to win money, but like you're going to get on 6 head before you get to the, you know, the championship round.
So, and I'm just adding up these numbers again. I spent 10 minutes talking about my anxiety of getting on one of these animals once, and I'm just listening to the numbers fly around of how many times you guys get in a shoot on a 1,250 to 1,400 pound horse that's ready to whoop your ass.
So last year I did roughly about 83, 85 rodeos, and probably got on 100 horses last year.
100 horses,
100
and that includes
horses.
NFR.
And that was in, no, that does not include the NFR.
Okay.
That's just in regular season.
And now NFR is all over the news. So you rode 100 horses, and then you went to NFR. Did all you guys go last year at NFR?
None of us went last year.
Okay. It was the year before that.
I went 17 and 18.
That's it, 18
the
is
years
what I was
went
thinking. Okay.
to the NFR. Yep. And last year just missed it. But I didn't start rodeoing until, what was it, May?
Yeah, we went to California.
Till May. We started going to California rodeos in May, and by October 1st, I had gotten on 100 horses.
That's insane.
The most I rodeoed in my career, just because I was trying to catch up. I didn't. I had surgery after the 2018 finals. I had ACL surgery, and wasn't able to come back till May. And made that push.
Was your surgery career related?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I got hurt July 2018. I came off. Didn't get off on the pickup man very good, like you should, and that's super important, obviously, or you tear your ACL, get kicked in the head, whatever. A lot of shit can happen.
Right.
But came off funny, landed in the dirt, and tore my ACL for the 3rd time. And
all three.
I've torn both knees and tore my left one twice, and it tore my left one for the second time 2018 in July.
And again, if I'm asking personal questions, just say I don't want to answer it, obviously. But do you have insurance? What is a bronc rider that's a professional rodeo guy do for health insurance?
You know,
you don't have to answer that if you don't want to. But
no, it's cool. A lot of guys don't. It's expensive. You know, being a professional rodeo athlete, insurance companies don't want to be responsible for that.
Right.
You know, I'm fortunate enough to work and have a family business that allows me to still have a job if I can't rodeo, and I can still get insurance benefits.
Gotcha.
And so that's kind of how that works out.
Probably paying for this.
There's a lot of guys that pay for it out of pocket.
The lightning, waiting.
There's a lot of guys that have made a lot of money and treat it like a business and do right with their money, and can still afford, you know, having insurance. But for, I'd say, the majority of guys, it's a tough road not having insurance and getting hurt. Like, you either got to be tough and just let it heal,
and then you got gas money, lodging. I know you guys stay with a lot of people,
entry
and you have
fees,
campers, but entry fees, gear,
all of
everything that goes along with
all
it.
year long.
And not even just
not
that,
a one-time fee.
Like, so for 2 years, Mason was going to a $10 million out of rodeo and making money. And like,
say that again.
10 million at the NFR.
Gotcha.
National finals.
And
so that's 10 million just for bronc riding.
No, total. A million an event or something like, or no, a little over a million. $1.3 or something.
$1.4
million
is what it is per event. The whole rodeo is
10 million.
10 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so you're doing that, and you're starting to get used to. You're doing 2 years of making that kind of money, and then you get hurt and don't make money during the regular season. And then you don't go to Vegas or Arlington, wherever it is, and you don't make money there. And then you're hurting after that, right? Like, it's a whole different economic
So now
deal.
you make the personal choice. I got to get a job.
Gotta get a job.
I got to get a job that's not rodeoing.
You go from a world-class athlete to a
from a hero to a zero in no time.
real fast.
Champ.
And I mean that in the most sincere sense of the word, but I'm making light of that. But that's a pretty shitty thing to go from here and rocking and rolling every weekend to going, oh shit, I got to pay my bills.
Yep.
And not just in rodeo, anything in life in the United States right now. A lot of people getting the rug pulled out from under them. So you go back to a job and you're still working a second job, because I would say for all you guys, your goal is to have rodeo as your primary job.
Mm-hmm.
And then you save up money, but you also got to keep training, right? Because it's a perishable skill. So what is a regular day? And you guys jump in wherever, but what is a regular training day tomorrow? You guys have a rodeo coming up in Rapid City this weekend. Tomorrow. What is a regular so let's say today. Obviously today's different because you guys came in to do this, and thank you for being here. But a regular training day, what does that look like for you guys?
So yesterday,
to include the fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always make sure we have fun in the day. Some days, like these guys, I've got, fiance, dog, a house. I like to talk on the phone, try and do other things other than rodeo all the time. I like to hunt, fish. So like yesterday, I knew that we were going to drive up here. So early in the morning, I get up about 5:30, go to the gym, work out, and then come home.
Cardio and lifting?
Just depends how I feel.
And you guys don't
I want to do cardio.
Like shit either, do you? You guys eat pretty well. Like you were driving here last night and stopped to cook elk.
Yeah,
elk steaks,
antelope steaks, and grilled onions and peppers and stuff.
That's shit, in case anyone's wondering.
Oh man, I'm a Patagonia fan for sure.
I love it, man.
I love the biscuits and gravy.
Stupid diet.
My go-to meal, whether it's rodeo day or not, is I get a pancake, 3 eggs, bacon, maple syrup, and I mix it all on top of everything, and that's me all the time. Yeah.
Out of all of us, Leighton probably eats the best.
Yeah,
still a fat ass.
And he has to.
The biggest fat ass.
But if you're up at like 11:30, 12 o'clock at Mason's house, you can hear crunching downstairs, and it's because Mason is late night snacking all night.
Yeah, just straight up. Oh yeah,
Chowhound snacking.
We'll all go to bed after the long day, and I'll still find myself 30, 40 minutes later,
Huh, Brianna?
back at the kitchen.
Never stops.
Back at the kitchen eating.
Well, he came in the cabin last night at midnight, and I had a fresh, still hot plate of peanut butter
There was
cookies sitting
4
right
of them
there.
sitting right there.
I knew you were going to give me the count. You didn't
Man,
say a word.
There were 4.
And it smelled like cookies in there.
And there were still 4 when I woke up this morning.
There's only 3 now. That was my breakfast.
Oh, was there 3?
Yeah.
I thought there was 4.
I'll make some cookies for you tonight. I'll make it up to you.
Thank you.
So, and Leighton, you eat good? What is eat good?
Eating good is, well, I mean, eating clean. Like you can't
Real
expect
food,
your
whole
body to
foods.
perform, whenever you fill up on biscuits and gravy that morning and then stop somewhere and have lunch at Subway and, maybe have a snack and then, expect to perform better than anybody. Like for me, like I'm kind of a natural fat ass. Like if I get off the chain for 2 or 3 days and I go ahead and like finish my plate
I feel you, man.
or eat a bunch of pancakes or anything sweet, like I literally I can feel my skin getting looser. Like I'll gain 2 or 3 pounds like right there in the day.
Just like that?
Yep. Like if
So do you prep your food for traveling?
well, that's a thing that we're definitely going to get into this year. Like I actually had a goal that I was going to do that because I thought we were going to be gone constantly. And
Yeah.
And then with us like literally just jogging out to 2 or 3 rodeos and coming back home, we've definitely just like made sure we ate really correct at home, ate, clean, light. I like to do a little bit of fasting, like to keep my, I feel like I have more energy that way. Whenever
When you
I
eat clean, you obviously eat meat?
yeah, for sure.
You're
No,
just
like
talking
I'm
meat, vegetables.
big on that. Just like, no sweets type things. Like for breakfast, like if I'm going to eat breakfast, which I'm not a big breakfast guy, but
Yeah.
I'll usually eat like just eggs and whatever, that's it. And no burrito or sausage, like try to do that. Or oatmeal, like fills me up for a while. And then
I
something
He's a
literally-
like-
basic white chick.
I
Yeah.
literally just had a sausage burrito. Everything you just mentioned that he doesn't
yeah.
eat.
Hey,
What
not
did
that
we
we
have
I
this
ate
morning?
today.
don't think
Biscuits,
this
gravy,
is like
eggs.
I mean, I
Bacon.
definitely am like about to get on a nutrition plan. I've got a guy I'm going to go see in Fort Worth when I get home to train for the NFR. But on a normal like day for me, especially like back at home at the ranch, like where we're home and like not living out of our campers, like oatmeal or something or 3 eggs scrambled is kind of my deal in the morning. If I'm going to go do stuff all day or whatever, I usually don't eat till around like 2 o'clock after that. And like I'm big on having like a salad with some sort of protein, so like steak and salad, chicken and salad with an avocado or something like that to kind of get me going. And like if I'm super busy that day, I'll like choke down a granola bar, like give me some more
God, I feel
protein
like
and-
a fat piece of
Hey,
shit. listening
Leighton
to
hasn't had a
this,
pop since like 2003.
That's
Really?
true. And that's actually a funny story. That was longer than that. But whenever I was maybe in 5th grade and I decided to play football, I remember after we won this game, we went out to like eat pizza or whatever, and I got a pop, like a Dr. Pepper. And as my coach was walking up to get a drink, and he kind of looked at me and he was just like telling me that, that if you want to ever make it, like that pop it isn't going to work,
worst
boy. Like
thing.
kind of just gave me the old man deal. And I swear to
Isn't
God,
it amazing how things like
I-
that stick with you your entire life?
I poured it out first of all to be funny, and then I kid you not, I have not had a Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, anything like that since that day.
For a guy from Texas to say they haven't had a Dr. Pepper and
No, I honestly don't even know what it tastes like. Now, sweet tea, I have a problem with. I love sweet tea. Like that's just probably
Texas.
the straight Texas in me. Like
Yeah.
I love sweet tea, but
Dr.
water,
Pepper
away
and
from
sweet tea.
water's my go-to. But
Sweet tea in Texas. is a
yeah,
hard
I'll
walk away
usually
from.
stick to the water and like I drink beer for sure. Like
Yeah.
I like whiskey, I like tequila. We try to honestly the thing, and this is what Sid Steiner calls them. They're called Bareback Beers. They're the Bud Light seltzers.
Yeah.
So they're pretty low on calories and carbs. So if we're ever on the boat or something, we'll if there's some girls there, we're probably drinking Keystones. But if we're just out there surfing, we'll have some seltzers. We just try our best to constantly feel good and be strong. And then for dinner, like that's usually where like me and Cole like we'll cook like another meat with either broccoli or some sort of vegetable and like maybe a potato. Like we do our best to eat the best we can. But when you're on the road too, like that's another story. Like you're gonna be stopping at places, like you're gonna eat some processed food. Like that's just how it is. But hopefully, like whenever this year gets normal, like I plan on getting a new camper this year with a fridge and everything,
Cooking.
like Mason's,
Yeah.
and being able to cook all my meals. Like that's another thing I'd like to do during the NFR is not eat out one time, eat everything out of whether it's my hotel room or like microwaving it, anything like that. I'd like to try to do
Pre-made
that.
meals,
Yeah, because
yep.
I can't tell you how much better I feel, and I could tell a difference whenever we get done rodeo and we go to IHOP and pig out, and then someone's cooking when we get home and we eat then, and then we eat a big dinner. I go to bed and I'm just like, bloated.
Yep.
It's not like we hate that stuff and we don't want to eat it.
I love it.
Like, we really are fat asses at heart, and we want all the sugars, sweets, all of that. We love sweets. But bareback riding and rodeo is so hard on your body as it is. The easiest thing you can do is eat right. Like, not cutting out the sugars and like heavy carbs.
I love what you just said.
You are
the easiest thing you can do is eat right in your career field.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Just eat clean, because I mean, you're drinking soda, you're eating potato chips all the time, you're snacking on candy, you're adding all that sugar, and it's intensifying all that inflammation that you just built up from the last 6-7 days.
Yeah.
And then you go work out and try and continue to rodeo for the next 6-7 days. Like,
you're gonna feel
you
like
tried
shit.
to take 10 steps forward going and doing all those workouts, but you really went 20 steps backwards.
Right.
And you feel like complete ass.
For sure.
Like, you can't work out hard enough, you can't sleep good, you don't function correctly at all.
And then you got to go get on 4 or 5
and try and keep your mind right
animals.
in all that.
And the way that we can kind of stay like relatively eating good whenever we have absolutely no food in the camper, we're gone for 3 or 4 days or whatever, is like, there is a way to eat healthy. There's places that we
Fast
like
food
will map
restaurants,
out.
it's easy.
Like, yeah, Taco Bell, you can get that crunchy gordita. But no, there is a way to find some healthy food. And then when we're rodeoing, like, we'll eat less. Like, we'll usually only eat twice in the day. So like, almost like eating the Texas Roadhouse that night, like, we almost probably need the the carbs and stuff from that, just because we like to get on like super empty and light and like have a lot of water, like be super hydrated, but like, no food in your belly. Like, I think all three of us can say that we feel the best, like, for as far as being focused, like our brain feeling good, our muscles feeling good, is when we got a lot of water in us and not a lot of food.
If I'm hungry, I will slam a cheeseburger
This
about
is
an
true.
hour before
I've seen Mason
rodeo.
just slam some nachos
Mason
and
loves it.
B90.
So
Gotta eat,
that's
man.
a good question. So pre-ride mojo, like, hour before you're about to ride, what happens?
We're
Fast forward through just the short play, but 1 hour, because I've called you before and talked to you, and you're calm as can be on the phone, and you're talking to me, and then you're like, "Hey, Bert, can I give you a buzz back later? I'm about to ride," and I'm just like, "What? Who the fuck?"
No,
are
I've
you?"
seen them be loading horses.
Cool as can be. Like, yeah, I'm about to ride a 1,200-pound animal that wants to kill me in front of 6,000 people. It just, your tone never changes, and my palms are getting sweaty holding the phone. Like, this guy's nuts.
No,
you
Mason will
guys
be over
see
there.
me
Ultimate,
being all
dude.
cool and especially when you call me, but I think these guys have seen it too. Brianna, especially, like, when there's people there, family, friends, and I'm running around trying to get tickets or trying to get them in seats, like, that gives me the most anxiety out of anything in this world.
People problems.
Like, just
horse problems don't bother you.
no,
People problems.
not at all. Like, horses going nuts in the chute, shit going crazy back there, doesn't faze me. Getting ready doesn't faze me. Whether I've got the easiest horse or the hardest horse, doesn't faze me. But I want everybody to have a good time and to, like, be in their seats and be comfortable and know where they're going, especially, taking care of Brianna, making sure that the dog is put away, locked up. Nobody's going to take the dog.
Mason's a real dad.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed.
Me and Leighton are like, screw it,
Yeah,
we'll be
hell
good.
with it,
It'll come
yeah.
back. Leighton or Mason's cleaning everything
No,
up.
like,
We got our chaps on, like, kind of getting ready, getting focused. Mason's like on the phone doing his like hip flexor bands and like talking to somebody about some deal, and like the horses
Probably
are
hunting.
loaded. Yeah, or he'll just be talking about his buddy's elk hunt, and he's all stoked. And I'm like, "Hey, Wood, your horse is loaded over here."
All right, I got to go.
I seen Mason last year in Abilene, and he was 15th in the world at this time. And Brianna couldn't get the lawnmower started. And this
You're
is
back in
15
Utah and you can't get the
This
lawnmower
is 15
started.
minutes before the perf, and the third to last rodeo of the year, probably somewhere in there.
Yeah,
And
it was
like
close.
Mason's like telling her how to get this freaking lawnmower started. I'm like, dude, like they're loaded out there. Like we're about to ride.
I could see the anxiety in
I was like,
his face.
I was getting.
It was
like,
stressing
Well,
Cole
I'm
out.
not
Holy
joking.
shit, dude.
It was last year, or I don't know when I was talking to you, and you were like, "Cool," and I could hear stuff in the background. You're like, "Well, can we talk tomorrow? Because I'm about to ride." And I'm like, "When?" And you're like, "Oh, in about 10 minutes." And I'm just like, "Dude, what is going on with you guys? This is nuts." I would be. It's like taking a PT test in the Army, push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. I'm the guy that would have to run back and take a shit right before the run starts, like literally right before the run starts.
Yeah, we all have our little deals to warm up with too. Like Mason, he always does a 12-minute back deal.
Yeah, like a 12-minute
foundation training.
low
Yeah.
back.
Where are these workouts
legs.
and stretches and
I
exercises?
found this
Yoga.
one on YouTube. Yeah, yoga. Been to a few yoga classes and just kind of incorporate those into jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups. You're really using your core and your low back, so making sure that that's fired up, engaged, warm, ready to roll, so that when you ask it to respond, it just does it. And at this level, we don't really practice. We don't get on practice horses because you go to so many rodeos in a year, right? But it's making sure that you're warmed up, stretched out correctly.
Yeah, there's a fine line.
That was insane for me. That was 7 seconds of my life, and I've never in my entire life used
everything
from my shoulders to my knees more in my entire life. How intense, except for making sweet love. But that doesn't happen very often.
It's just like making sweet love, man.
But I'm all jokes aside, like that to me was like that was insane. That intensity on your body, just your core. Like you talk about core, and I'm built like a fire hydrant. I'm not a small guy, man. That literally
you got to have your trunk.
You
got
said
to
it.
be solid.
You guys kept saying it to me all that 3 or 4 hours beforehand. You kept saying it. You kept saying it. Like, man, I'm good. People do this all the time, and then when you watch that video, and I could see it now, I'm replaying it in my head because it scared the shit out of me, but I was not sitting right. You told me, and I watched that video, and I was not sitting right. I was upright and super rigid, and man, my brain to body real fast said, hey.
But it did it.
It did.
And that's why
But
you were
man,
like, we were like, hell yeah. Like you were at 5-6 seconds and we were going nuts. We were screaming louder. Like, hell yeah, he's doing it.
Just doing that day in and day out and day in and day out and day in and day out. I wish there was a way to simulate this. Obviously, there's no way you could ever have a bronc ride in school so an average person could come out and ride a bronc because people would get hurt. But man, if everybody
you can. That's actually false.
So
can you?
Yep. So like, I mean, every school will take. I'll make this quick or whatever.
No, you're good. See if people can hear this and go somewhere where you guys are and
that's
do this.
that's why I wanted to
like
stop
shit.
you. It doesn't matter if you're riding a skateboard or you rope or you family cuts, whatever you might do. If you have an interest in riding bucking horses or bulls, just like to name a few, like the Stay Smith Clinic in Athens, Texas. He's a PRCA stock contractor.
Anybody can go to this.
Anybody, like I go and help. Like I was a student there whenever I went, and then like the guys, like the coaches are usually like Tilden Hooper, 5-time NFR qualifier, Richmond champion, like guys like that that have made the NFR a few times. Like last year, I got to kind of be the instructor with those guys, and there was I think 5 bareback riders there that it was their, like we had to help them set the riggings up. They'd never been on one, like didn't know anything about it.
They just
like
said,
their
hey, I want
parents
to try
were there.
this.
They wanted to try it, and what we do is like we have some select older horses that and we even have one that we can lead out and put a flank on him and like hold him with a lead rope, and he'll just kind of kick at his belly. Like we have pretty much from level 1 to all the way to like we'll get on, and the other guys were getting on to get ready for the NFR because it's like their last horses they'll get on before the first round,
right?
To like want some of the coolest horses that aren't going to go, and so everyone it's a 2-day school. I think it's $300, which is pretty cheap. It's all day long, and anybody from anywhere that of any age. Like we even had somebody that was 32, I think, that was wanting to learn how to ride saddle bronc horses, and he got on like 15 head in 2 days. Like,
You say it like 32 is old as shit. I'm 44. You say
In
it
the
like
rodeo
being
world, 32 is
that
old.
we started when we were
Casey,
16.
Tilden,
You know what I mean?
Behold,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mofos.
Tilden, all you old people out there.
No, but you can absolutely.
This
come
old
to
guy
this.
showed up. I was waiting for you to say like 72 years old, and you're
Hey.
like 32. I'm like, phew.
those
Hey, old
What's,
Puddinhead.
what's Puddinhead? How old's
Puddinhead.
Puddinhead?
He's 62.
Somebody actually has the nickname Puddinhead.
Puddinhead. He's 62. He got on a bareback the other
He
day.
got on 2 now. He's
Two.
been entered twice at these Bartee rodeos.
Puddinhead.
This is the
We don't-
story that I heard too. I guess he rides a what's called a floppy handled rigging, which
Yeah.
that's like from like 1971.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Still
it's not
rides
like
it?
a stiff handle, you know.
Yeah.
And so like obviously he's basically holding on to this thing instead of like kind of having a glove that'll hold on to him. And I guess he got 2 jumped or whatever, like which is the horse left there, kicked twice and landed him right on his head, and everyone's kind of freaking out. This guy's grandpa's age. And so they go pick him up out of the dirt. You all right? You doing okay? And he's just like, oh, yeah, I'm all right. That's why they call me Puddinhead. Like,
Love it, man.
couldn't imagine
but
getting on
when-
barebacks
So
at 62.
is there? Go ahead.
I was gonna say when kids are getting on at 15, 16, and like starting to kick butt.
Yeah.
18, 19 years old. 32 in the rodeo world is you're not done, but you're getting up there for sure.
Well, in
So
Buffalo,
that's like-
you probably know all these guys. I know Ryan King and Brad Walden were here yesterday doing a podcast, and this Saturday they invited me to come ride steers. They're putting on a steer clinic in
Oh, yeah.
Buffalo. You probably know all the people working it, and but it was kids that want to learn how to ride bulls. They're starting them out with some steers and getting them on for the first time, or they're just starting out. They told me to come out and ride. I might go do it. But
Might as well. You're Bronco Bert.
I'm ready.
Hell yeah.
90 or nothing. Is
That's
that
it.
So
I'm going to sum this up for you real quick.
Yes, sir.
How you stay so calm for me personally, like I would be so intense all day long, not dreaming, sleeping, thinking about how that ride was going to be the next day. Wake up, I'm still thinking about playing it over in my mind 100 million times before I even got on. And I would go and get on and ask for my body to fire up and respond, and it just doesn't.
Right.
And then like I get off, and maybe 30 minutes later I'm like, I need to go to bed. Like I can't even talk. I don't even want to have a conversation. Like I'm tired. I'd work myself up. And your mind doesn't know the difference.
Anxiety, stress.
And I'm not getting anxiety, but like I don't have anxiety.
Well, it's just like you want to win.
But you want to be a competitor and win so damn bad that your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and in imagining it.
Yeah.
It feels the same
right there.
Feels the same, right? Like that's why they tell you.
Well, just like you said, your palms are sweating a minute ago. Like there's times I was laying in bed last night, like just nonchalantly thinking about the NFR and like just picturing it, trying to fall asleep, and like I remember like pulling my hands out from underneath the covers. My hands are sweating.
Well,
like,
and you don't fall asleep for 2 more hours.
No, I
and
literally
you feel your
didn't.
heart
Yeah.
pumping, your
wake up
blood
in the middle of the
flowing
night.
through your veins, like
No.
your adrenaline starts kicking in.
No.
It doesn't. Your mind does not know the difference. So I don't think about anything before I get to the rodeo. I drop my gear bag. I get my gear out. We're bullshitting, talking shit to each other, laughing. I'm a little quiet, but I'm not thinking about the ride. I save all of that to the time I put my rigging on. I'm looping my latigos to my girth, and when they say you got 4 or 5 guys ahead of you, and I start pulling my latigos and tightening my rigging onto my horse,
start thinking about your fundamentals.
that's when I really start breaking it down. Okay, I'm going to have a strong mark out. I'm going to have my chin tucked. I'm going to have my core fired. I'm going to fire my feet up and squeeze and mash my heels into this sucker. And as soon as he starts tippy-toeing off the ground, I'm going to pull my feet and fire him back to his neck as hard as I possibly can and get his attention right here in front of the gate.
And you're playing this in your head, this scenario.
I'm not really playing
you're just
playing
going
the
through your
feel
list.
of it. I'm just playing just
Going over your
thinking of the
checklist,
steps.
basically.
Pre-flight checklist.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think all of us can all say once we get in the buck and shoot and run our hand in, and we're ready. Like, we're not, our brains are 100% shut off. We know exactly, we showed up prepared, and like that goes all the way back to the eating and the training. Like, we pull up to the rodeo not overexerting energy thinking about our ride, because we know we're prepared. We know we're healthy. We've been eating good. We're going to be fast. No matter what that horse does, we're going to dominate it. No matter if he's the buckinest thing there or one of the flashiest, coolest things to get on. And we're going to go there and we're going to kick butt. And I think right whenever you get to where you're firing on all cylinders, and you're putting your rigging on, they're about to start the bareback ride, and you go over your checklist basically, like we all do. Like, I think about squeezing my handle and having a good mark out and being fast and dominating that
What
horse.
does having a good mark out mean? You guys both just said that.
In your mark out, you have really one rule in bareback riding, bronc riding. You have to have the heels of your boots above the shoulders of your horse when he takes the first jump into the arena.
When he breaks the plane from the buck and shoot, your feet have to be in contact with his neck. So if they were to drop below his shoulders, there's a judge with a yellow flag in his pocket. He'll throw it.
You're DQ'd.
So it doesn't matter if you make the best ride of your life. Like,
no points.
No, like it happens too.
And like, this is all pretty cool, honestly, to talk about, like, our checklist deal, because like it's all different for all of us. Like, for me too, like, all day is just like that, and then like when we get to the rodeo, you put on your Wrangler shirt or whatever it is, and like,
cinch
excuse my leg,
cinch shirt,
all that
good
stuff,
clothes.
Whatever. Mason doesn't even wear it half the time. He's got KYE stuff on.
He's got his
But
hunting, elk hunting. Yeah, I'm just dreaming about it, wearing it.
No, you put your Wrangler shirt on, like, excuse my language, but like, I'm a bad motherfucker as soon as I put that stuff on.
You kind of get in the zone.
And
You
like,
have to have.
that's 2 hours before the
That's where
rodeo.
you're most comfortable.
And that's, the show is called Kill Your Ego, but
I was
at
just
some
about to
point,
say that you have to have that
at some point
ego.
You have to
Yeah.
build an ego, and where I come from, I don't want to go too far into it. I haven't been in the Army in a long time, but at some point, for the well-being of yourself and the people around you, you have to build up whatever that is.
Hey.
You can. It is an ego, yes, but I don't think you guys build it up in the sense of an ego. Hey, I'm a bad motherfucker. I got to get in the zone.
Mhm.
But you're probably not going, I'm better than the dude next to me.
No,
You're just
that's
going,
not what it's
Well, that's
at
see,
all.
that's
I am going to beat my
You're
best
so
ride.
prepared.
I'm going to beat my best ride. I'm in my zone. I'm a bad motherfucker right now in my world, in my little space, in my bubble. But I think it's funny for you. I like to hear that you guys like that side of it, that you get psyched up.
Anyone
You're-
that's good at anything has that. You know what I mean? And that's just a competitive deal.
Yeah,
You're
we
a
all show up
competitor.
to kick ass, but I mean, just like Mason, I can't tell you how many times like I might be second out and he's sixth or seventh, his horse isn't in yet, and I'm there ready to win first, and he always shows up like, what do you need? Like, you need something? I'm like, yeah, like, I need a bump, or will you finish time my ladder goes off, or whatever it might be. Like, and then as soon as I get off, I get to turn around and go help
Do the
him, or
same
Cole
thing.
too. Like, it's
Is
one
that
of those,
across the board, or is that just with your guys'
That's
crew?
everybody. I think all of all top 25 guys do just the same thing.
You can ask any bareback rider, bull rider. There's even team ropers that come pull bull rope sometimes. But when you're standing back there and you look around and you see anybody with a cowboy hat and you ask them for help for whatever that you might need, you will never get told no, ever. It's not it's a let's help, let's all kick ass today. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going against each other. We're going against this bucking horse. You know what I mean? And,
cool.
and ourselves. So it's like, what can I do to make this better for you, so you can go out there and do your deal and try to make the best ride you can make, instead of making it harder on a guy. So
Unless Leighton's got a hot girl on Snapchat, telling him she's at the beer stand,
Or-
come over.
yeah.
So you're
Be right back. Dude,
you're
I'm up
obviously
I'll see
engaged
you guys at the beer stand.
and have a family here in the future planned. Are you guys single?
Oh yeah.
So what is
As a Pringle.
What is single as a Pringle? What is single life on the
It's
rodeo?
awesome.
Single life is no responsibilities life. That's what that is. Like, we're just, me and Leighton, like, we're both 21. And I mean, like, honestly,
there's two
He
sides
means
of
that
it.
too, because I still do his dishes.
yeah, no,
Pull
100%.
his clothes out of the laundry room.
No, that's what I said. No
Like,
responsibilities.
No responsibilities whatsoever.
No, I don't need any.
Turn the
And-
lights off. Shut the door.
Speak for yourself. I got that down.
Whatever. But
And do you guys have like, you watch movies, this is TV shows, whatever it is there horses out there that are like the horse, like,
oh yeah.
hey,
Oh, yeah.
you just drew, give me a name?
Virgil.
You just drew Virgil. Tell me about Virgil.
Gunfire.
If there's one horse that everybody is like the horse of all horses right now, where is Virgil from?
Who knows? No one knows.
Virgil currently resides in Canada.
Okay.
There's actually like
Virgil's in Montana right now.
Yeah.
And Virgil's the bucking horse of all bucking horses right now.
Yeah.
He's pretty much of all
white
time.
horse,
I'm not gonna lie.
gray
Like
horse.
he's arguably of all time, close to all time.
It's a
And
size.
what are the odds of one of you three at some point riding
In the
Virgil?
next-
Hopefully
in the
in
next
December.
30 or couple months.
He'll
pretty
get bucked
high.
twice. So there's
twice at NFR, he
Yep.
will be out there rocking and
Yeah,
rolling.
he'll be out in the 5th round and the 10th round, which those are called the TV pin rounds, which is the best horses in the whole entire world.
So NFR this year, for you guys listening, has been moved from Vegas to Arlington, Texas, and you'll be able to watch this on the internet. They're going to stream it all. It's going to be on TV.
Cowboy Channel.
Cowboy Channel. You got to watch the bucking horse competition, and you got to watch these guys. And then Virgil is in the round 5 and round 10. But you know, how are we doing on time, Carrick? What's that? Okay. Yeah, well, that's a good time to wrap it up. You guys are always up here. We'll have you guys back on, and I'd love to take the podcast out with you guys on. Is that Virgil?
That's Virgil.
We'll post this photo that Mason's
show you a
showing me right
video,
now.
too.
We'll post this when we talk about this so you guys can see
Amazing.
it. But that's a good segue. We're coming to the end of the show here, but we'll have you guys back on, and more importantly, I would like to get back out with you guys and ride a horse again.
For sure.
And
For you to come out and do that.
We'll film it and do a podcast there so people can see. We'll get Buster back out too again, and maybe some of those other guys.
We'll be back out on that boat in Texas.
Yeah, we can do it on
time.
boat too.
Yeah, I would.
We can
Utah,
get you surfing,
Texas
Bronco.
again.
Yeah, I would love it. I'd love
Let's
to
do
come
it.
back down there. Again, the hospitality there was from Meat and Rocker, Steiner. You guys are just all. I've never met a more laid back group of people in my entire
Well,
life.
in that family, I think I speak for everybody. We're all pretty blessed to know the Steiners.
Yeah,
Like-
and I mean, perfect example. You making one phone call and saying, "Hey, we've got this dipshit from Wyoming that's never ridden a bronc."
He calls himself
before.
Bronco Bert.
Bronco Bert's coming down.
Says he's a champ.
Bronco Bert's still here. That's what I posted this morning. I had a dream last night that I was one of the world's greatest bronking horse, bronc riders and bronc busters. And I woke up, and the closest I got to that was Mason pulling up.
Walking out the front door.
Walking
of
out
your
the front
house.
door, and Mason's got his camper parked out front. It's good enough for me, though. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But we'll keep watching these guys. They're in Rapid City this weekend at the rodeo.
Tomorrow through Saturday.
The tour finale, Rapid City. We ride tomorrow night and Friday night at 7:30. You can watch it on the Cowboy Channel.
This probably won't be out before then, but
if you do
You go
want to follow
Rapids-
rodeo,
You can go
the
back
Cowboy
to it.
Channel,
Archives.
yep.
The Cowboy Channel they have an app now too. Like you can watch whatever you want on your phone, on your TV.
Get informed. There's
It's
information
really,
about
it's
it
really
all.
cool. It's really good for rodeo.
Yeah, so in all these guys, I'll post a bunch of stuff, and we'll have these guys on more on the podcast, and hopefully get me out and get my ass kicked again.
Yeah.
But
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
thanks
is
for coming,
awesome.
guys. This was all kind of last minute, but
Oh, this is
I
cool.
want people to learn more about it because forget everything we just talked about for a second. If you just go to a rodeo, it doesn't matter what kind of rodeo. I keep pushing that. Like, it doesn't matter what politics you're in, what kind of money you got, what religion you are, what color you are.
Everybody's welcome.
Go out to a rodeo. Nobody's going to look at you funny. Nobody's going to call you. Nobody's going to give a shit. Just go to a rodeo and watch people do what
Unless
these
you're sitting
men
down
do.
during the national
Yeah,
anthem.
just don't sit down or kneel
Yeah.
during the national
You
anthem.
might get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
You will get your ass kicked probably.
Which I support, but go to a rodeo, and then if you get a chance to do a PRCA rodeo and watch these guys, they're all over the map. Obviously you don't do too much stuff in the Northeast, but the west side of the country, these guys are all over the place, and I'll post their names and stuff on social media so you can follow these guys, their personal accounts, and follow what they do. For Cole, Mason, and Leighton, thanks guys for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Bert.
As always, it's a good day to be alive. Don't fuck it up. And for the four of us up here, tell your dogs we said hi.
Heck yeah.